As global elites gather in the Swiss Alps for Davos 2026, the conversation isn't about peace, it's about survival. For 80 years, the US dollar has been the operating system of the world. But this morning, a new, parallel digital rail went live. It's called mBridge, and it's the most significant shift in financial gravity since Bretton Woods. While you were watching the stock market, the BRICS nations, led by India and China, successfully unplugged from the Western banking grid. This isn't a trade war, it's a total decoupling. Today, we go behind the curtain to deconstruct the 4 degrees of the end of dollar dominance. Welcome to 4 degrees. To the casual observer, the news out of Davos this morning is a victory for global stability. Ursula von der Leyen has just announced the mother of all deals, a comprehensive free trade agreement between the EU and India. The headlines are focused on diversifying supply chains and strategic autonomy. They want you to believe this is simply about moving manufacturing away from China and lowering the price of your next smartphone. But this is the first degree of the illusion. The mainstream media is framing this as European independence. With rising trade tensions and a new era of protectionism in the West, the EU is desperate for a new partner. India, with its $5 trillion ambition and a massive middle class, is the perfect candidate. But look at the fine print. This deal isn't just about tariffs and taxes. It's about the digital infrastructure beneath the trade. While the world celebrates a new era of cooperation, they are missing the fact that the EU has just agreed to integrate with a financial system that no longer answers to Washington. If you want to see the reality behind the surface illusion, look at the recent oil deals settled between New Delhi and Abu Dhabi. They didn't use dollars. They used the digital rupee and local currencies. This morning's deal in Davos effectively EU certified this behavior. By signing this pact, Europe has essentially admitted that the dollar's monopoly is no longer a requirement for doing business with the world's most important emerging economy. The illusion is trade. The reality is divorce. The surface story is simple. The European Union and India have signed the mother of all deals, a historic trade pact to secure supply chains. But look closer. For the first time, a major Western power has agreed to settle trade in a non-dollar system. India's ambition for a $5 trillion economy isn't just a number, it's a takeover. By integrating their central bank digital currency, CBDC, into the mBridge system, they've created a trapdoor. They are using the West's need for their manufacturing to force the world into a new digital ledger, one that Washington can't see and BlackRock can't track. The shift has begun. Degree 2, the hidden architecture. For 40 years, global finance relied on a system called SWIFT. But here's the secret the banks won't tell you. SWIFT doesn't actually move money. It moves messages. It's a glorified instant messenger that tells a bank in New York to pay a bank in London. It's slow, it's expensive, and because the servers sit on Western soil, it is the ultimate weapon of surveillance. If the US doesn't like your politics, they unplug your messenger. But the architects of the new world have built something that doesn't need a messenger at all. This is mBridge, developed by the Bank for International Settlements, BIS, alongside the central banks of China, Thailand, the UAE, and India. Unlike SWIFT, mBridge is a multi-CBDC common platform. It's not a message, it's a settlement engine. The technical explanation. In the mBridge architecture, the digital rupee and the digital yuan live on the same shared ledger. When a transaction happens, the assets don't move across borders through 10 different intermediary banks. They are instantly swapped on the ledger using peer-to-peer, P2P technology. It's a closed loop. No correspondent banks, no US clearinghouses, and zero friction. Why does this matter to the average person? Because in the old system, liquidity, the ability to buy and sell, was controlled by the US dollar. If you wanted to trade, you had to keep a pile of dollars in the basement. mBridge introduces automated market makers, AMMs, into central banking. It calculates the exchange rate between the rupee and the rial in milliseconds, providing instant liquidity without ever needing a greenback to act as the middleman. By the time the US Treasury realizes a trade has happened, the oil has already been delivered, and the digital tokens have already been settled. mBridge is effectively DeFi for central banks. It's the institutional takeover of blockchain technology to protect state power, not to give it back to the people. Degree 3. The institutional hand. Most people have never heard of the Bank for International Settlements, BIS, in Basel, Switzerland. But it is the central bank for central banks. If you want to find the true headquarters of the mBridge project, you don't look in Beijing or New Delhi. You look at a cylindrical tower in Basel, Switzerland. This is the BIS. While politicians argue on TV, the BIS Innovation Hub is the laboratory where the dollar's replacement was engineered. The man at the helm, Augustin Carstens, has been remarkably clear about their goal. A fully implemented CBDC isn't just about efficiency, it's about the absolute control of money and payments. Carstens has explicitly stated that CBDCs give central banks the power to enforce programmability. Imagine your money expiring if you don't spend it, or being locked if you try to buy something the state deems risky. Look at the career paths of the mBridge architects. They move from the IMF to the BIS to the top seats of national central banks, like a game of musical chairs. They aren't patriots of their respective countries, they are patriots of the network. At Davos 2026, we see this network in full view. The same people who managed the 2008 crisis and the 2020 lockdowns are now the ones solving the dollar problem with mBridge. It's a self-licking ice cream cone. This is the revolving door between the International Monetary Fund, IMF, the World Bank, and these new CBDC projects. The institutional hand is also reaching into the private sector. Notice how the BIS has flipped on their stance toward digital assets. They aren't fighting crypto anymore, they are absorbing it. Using protocols like the ISO 20022 standard, the universal language of the new financial system, they are bridging the gap between old world banks and new world ledgers. They are tokenizing everything: stocks, bonds, real estate, and your very labor. If the dollar was a paper chain, mBridge is a digital web. While the mBridge system is sold as a way to fight the dollar, the institutional hand doesn't want you to have more freedom. They want to replace one master with another. They are replacing the surveillance of the US Treasury with the surveillance of the global technocracy. Degree 4. Mastery of the shift. The Great Uncoupling, the survival mindset. Most people will wait for a crash that looks like 2008. They are looking for a singular moment. But the shift is a quiet coup. The fourth degree isn't about watching the world fall apart. It's about watching the world move on. The winners of 2026 aren't the ones waiting for a 1929-style crash. They are the ones who realize that the US dollar's exorbitant privilege has officially expired. To master the shift, you must stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a sovereign. The institutional hand is moving into digital, programmable control. Your job is to find the exits before the doors are locked. The Antifragile Portfolio, the 3 pillars. Reveal the assets that billionaires and institutional insiders are quietly accumulating while the public is distracted by the stock market. To be anti-fragile in the mBridge era, you need 3 pillars. Pillar 1, hard commodities. As the BRICS nations move toward a unit-based, gold-backed settlement model, physical assets like gold and silver are no longer just hedges, they are the new collateral. Pillar 2, sovereign digital assets. Notice the quiet exit. Institutions are moving billions into decentralized, peer-to-peer protocols that the mBridge architecture can't fully censor. Think beyond the hype. Look for utility. Pillar 3. Geographic Diversification. The shift is geographic. As the digital Iron Curtain descends, owning assets in jurisdictions that sit outside the Western surveillance web, but inside the new trade rails, like the UAE or India, is the ultimate move. They told you that wealth was about luck. They were wrong. It's about proximity. Proximity to the shift. By understanding the mBridge architecture and the institutional hand today, you are already ahead of 99% of the population. You are no longer miles away from success. You are just 1 degree of separation from the inside track. The system isn't broken. It's being rewired. And now, you have the blueprint. Master the shift. The shift isn't coming. It's here. Every week, we deconstruct another layer of the machine. If you're ready to take the inside track, subscribe to 4 Degrees. Your success is closer than you think. Master the shift.